yeah, yeah. Never not, never under yard, never ever, I'm forever on. Check my repertoire, check my repertoire, don't check me not. Let's just checks involved. I've been feeling like I'm next to God, next to God, next to God.
Today's gonna be a little bit different. I'm gonna do a reaction video to the Decay of Andrew Tate, TikTok's worst alpha male. And for those of you who don't know who this person is, basically he established something called Hustlers University, and it's trying to teach kids how to like become rich and how to get bitches, basically. But what it is in actuality is it's a multi-level marketing scheme where you pay $50 and then the classes are essentially teaching you how to cut and crop a bunch of videos of his and then creating fake Instagrams, fake Facebook, fake TikToks, what's the other one? And YouTube videos, and just creating shorts and then pumping this basically propaganda out. And then your affiliate code you're attaching to it so that when you are basically, propagating this idea of Hustlers University, so the more people you get in, you get $25 for every person you sign up. So at the end of the day, it's a multi-level marketing scheme, and like how this dude has become so, I don't know, these ideas I feel like permeate through most men, and I feel like it's the base layer of a lot of our problems when it comes to like the way we have relationships with our wife. But we'll watch and see what's up.
The reason I talk about women the way I do is because I hold myself to such a high standard as an individual.
Because females have low IQs, right? Because women are stupid.
A woman sleeps with multiple people, that's cheating. It's fine if I do, I'm a man. They want to be me.
You're the man of the day.
I'm always the man of the day.
Whoever edited this is pretty sick. The music is kind of lit.
The alpha male can be defined as a man tending to assume a dominant or domineering role in a social or professional situation. Or this.
The average male body count in their entire life worldwide is 7. The average female body count in their entire world worldwide over a lifetime is 14.
The more you get pregnant, the more your value declines.
Red flags in women if she wears a lot of makeup.
Stop being a puppy! Be a dog! Hump that leg!
As of late, YouTube and TikTok...
What the fuck did I just... Oh, there was a lot just in that. Fuck. My man said that to hump a leg, bro? What the fuck is this? What is happening right now?
I've seen a dramatic uptick in content concerning the manosphere, an online network of content creators with a central focus on men's issues. While ranging in ideology and presentation, the one thing all these media
So I haven't seen this video, but I agree with what I feel like where he's about to say is something along the lines of all of these dudes have like really fucking bad takes on what it is that men have a problem with, because it's just propagating this, it's a confirmation bias. There's a word for it, something reasoning, where like you're looking for a reason to forgive yourself for your own bullshit. So like that dude's take on the women's body counts, or like women decrease in value the more times that they get pregnant, where the truth is at least in my experience, the more babies that they've had, that woman has a lot of advice. But then that's where you start talking about the mother, the crone, and the maiden, right? And the difference between those three things is usually how many babies they've had. But that's not to say that they have to have children in order to be worthwhile or whatever, but yeah.
personalities tend to have in common is hating women.
Being that women are the physical manifestations of this phenomenon, they can't be trusted to handle anything of greater responsibility, anything of greater importance.
This kid is like, what, 17? Is he? capable of handling any type of fucking responsibility.
Than daily household chores and taking care of babies.
Marketing content towards lonely teenage boys in need of a father figure has proven to be a surprisingly profitable
Facts. Most of these kids, I feel like, are like stuck in their teenage years, and the moment they hit puberty, they're just stuck.
racket for a slew of failed pickup artists.
You wanna go for a ride? No, I can't. Go for a drink?
Yo, low-key, I think that dude's like slow.
Okay, gotcha.
Take the Fresh and Fit podcast, for example. Comprised of Walter Weeks and Myron Gaines, the two buddies offer wise words along the lines of financial, fitness, and especially romantic advice to their audience, hoping to transform boys into men by navigating them through the treacherous world of dating, when really they just berate female guests to their face.
You've definitely disqualified yourself from a large portion of the same very men that you want to attract.
That's really rude.
Despite their many controversies and track record of questionable takes, Walter and Myron are thriving. Sinking their teeth into every major platform, Fresh and Fit have taken the internet by...
Yo, these two have some of the worst takes I've ever heard. They start like comparing women to vehicles, and then they bring on this other dude that wrote a book called The Redhead Dude is Retarded. He's absolutely out of his mind. And most of these arguments that they make, or these like projections that they're talking about, is because of their fear of women. It's trust issues at the root of it, or it's like mommy issues, or potentially it's daddy issues that are reflected onto the mother.
By storm, influencing a new generation of kids one embarrassing snippet at a time.
And I'm tired of women out here telling dudes, small dick energy, you're insecure.
Can you hear how that's him? Like, that's an experience he had, and he's upset about it, and he's projecting it on everybody.
Insecure, You can't even be a fucking decent woman and not be a slut. I'm not going to the Lamborghini dealership.
Not every woman's a slut.
With 300 bands to pay $200,000, pay $300,000 for a Lambo with 200,000 miles on it, bro.
I'm sure these clips are ridiculous.
When you make an analogy about another human as an object, you are objectifying them. Like,
and they may be fun to laugh at, but they shouldn't be written off, as these warped ideas still resonate with millions of people and shape online discourse. Reinforcing decade-old perspectives, influencers adjacent to Fresh and Fit confirm the biases of their overwhelmingly male audiences, allowing these men to make sense of the terrible card they've been dealt in life by legitimizing hateful rhetoric at the expense of women. The age-old dilemma of, should I go to therapy or pay a bald millionaire thousands of dollars to legitimize my dated worldviews? A concept of which...
Dude, facts. The moment I hear all these dudes yelling about this shit, it's just like, bro, go to therapy. Most of these problems will disappear because you'll realize that it's something internal within you that you're actually fighting with. It's a projection that's within yourself, not something that's actually out here. That's not to say that certain girls didn't hurt your heart or whatever, but that's also not to say that all women are the same. Because you wouldn't say the same statement about all men are the same. It's just weird.
No man has benefited more than the one I'd like to explore today. The biggest pillar of the alpha male community, Andrew Cobra Tate.
I see myself as superior to females, and not in a negative. If you don't want to make me a cup of coffee, that's perfectly fine. Pack a fucking bag. I always market disabled days. I'm not a bad person. Most people are slow and stupid. I'm fast. So I walk around my house with a sword.
This is gonna...
This dude, so like in the beginning when it talks about alpha male and it defines it, this dude is that dude. We all knew that dude in the army who you fucking couldn't stand because he acted like his shit didn't stink. Those are like the same dudes that they get peered out of like Ranger School and fucking SF because they have to fucking like you. And if you act like this, I don't know. I don't like the way that those dudes act most of the time. In most units that I've been in, those dudes don't really have friends and they're like solo dolo most of the time. And they're really unhappy because they're projecting this persona that they're trying to play, but you know that they actually don't believe it about themselves. That's why they're doing that. Like the dude that's always like, I'll fuck you up, I'll beat you up, I'll beat the shit out of you, don't fucking talk. That's because he's afraid that he's actually weak.
Be a long one, so let's go ahead and hear from today's sponsor, Bloodline Heroes of Lithis. Bloodline Heroes of Lithis is a card-based fantasy. My link, you'll get the 20 intimacy pack. A crypto enthusiast, swordful people over at Bloodline Heroes of Lithis for helping out with this one.
My brain is far too advanced. I'm too smart to read. I need to be driving a supercar and fight.
I'm too smart to read.
Champagne and going crazy.
I walk into hell and the devil's like, oh, I'm gonna burn you. So you gonna do shit.
Andrew Tate is a 35-year-old kickboxer, millionaire, playboy, crypto enthusiast, sword wielder, book hater, and disgraced reality TV star turned lifestyle guru.
This man was on.
Sitting at about 500,000 subs on YouTube, Andrew prides himself on delivering hard-hitting truths about women, business, and reality to his army of dedicated fans.
I guarantee there would be less divorce, happier families, and a better society as a whole if the women could only marry the men their father says they could marry.
Oh. So literally going back to the 1600s. Like there's actually the Game of Thrones TV show right now is all about this, where like you're marrying your daughter off to people. I couldn't fucking imagine doing that to my daughter and resigning her to a life of fucking misery because the dude ends up being a piece of shit. Jesus. And a lot of dads, they would use this as like a power move, but then also other dad like
Fat, ugly sack of shit. Therapy is not action. Therapy is sitting and crying and complaining. If you feel
oh, okay. Oh. This is literally the belief that all of you motherfuckers have that listen to this dude and don't take your ass to therapy, because I'm watching you post these videos and you're a bum. You drink yourself into the hospital and you don't go get help, and then you find out you have pancreatitis and you still don't go get fucking help. And then you post this motherfucker like he's a genius, because there's axioms of beliefs in here that all of you hold, and that's one of them, where therapy is not action, is what I think he just said. And that couldn't be further from the truth. It's just not physical action. It is up here. It's rewiring and reworking your thought patterns. Because he makes some other claims that are fucking ridiculous too about depression. And yeah, anyway, when you have automatic thoughts versus when you have conscious awareness thoughts, and then you have schemas in your mind, and these schemas that he is fighting is his beliefs about women that were probably bred into him when he was a kid. His mom and dad probably didn't have a very good relationship, and I can make an assumption here that they were probably divorced really early on, and he wanted to be his dad, and his dad lived like the solo dolo lifestyle, and he thought he was the fucking coolest because his dad pretended to be that. So he's just stuck in this 14-year-old child ideology. But the comment he made about therapy couldn't be further from the truth. It is probably the hardest work you'll ever do in your life. And if you don't believe that, then go and try to do the work.
feel depressed, you go to the gym.
While a few of his more notable posts have...
When you go to the gym, it releases endorphins, sure, and there's a lot of things that you can work out, right? If your depression or your anxiety or your... First of all, those are two different things. Let's start with depression. If your depression is about the way in which you view yourself externally, the gym will help you, make progress, because you're like, oh, I don't like the way my stomach looks, whatever. Now, the other question is, should you even care what your stomach looks like, or is that some societal thing that's being put on you? That's a different story. But if you just feel like you're not as capable as you once were or whatever, yeah, the gym will help you feel like you're doing something and being progressive and making progress in your life. Absolutely. And if that's like the baseline of your depression, it'll help every single time. But if it's not the baseline of your depression, it's not going to help you, because you're still going to have those intrusive thoughts even after you go to the gym. Even after those endorphins are released, you're still going to be angry and lashing out at everybody fucking around you, even if you're not doing steroids. And it's not necessarily about the testosterone rise either, because that just exacerbates what's already there. So it's something subliminal to that already existing thing, that the behavior that you can witness. And it's usually a thought pattern or a belief about the world that you're not really addressing, because you're not willing to admit things to yourself, because you didn't take your ass to therapy and really do the shadow work. Because I guarantee you, if you said something like Shadow worked at this dude, he'd think it's the devil.
Have made the rounds on Twitter in the past, it wasn't until recent that Andrew really began to hit his stride and make a name for himself as an influencer, thanks to the help of Twitch and TikTok. With moments like these being posted left and right by a multitude of fan pages, it's no wonder that Top G has become so talked about.
Have you ever seen a Chinese person working for someone who wasn't Chinese? Yeah? Okay. Well,
long story short,
Got
he
it.
is absolutely insane.
Hold on, what is that? If you're over 15 and like cartoons, you're a loser. Dragon Ball Z, etc. No excuse. Plus anyone, whatever. Oh fuck it, I give in. Send me pics of the baddest big titty anime hoes. Oh my god. Alright, so.
But while some may brush off such ridiculous sound bites as satire, treat him as a joke, or outwardly challenge his theories to his face, others look to him as the second coming of Jesus Christ himself, spending hundreds, thousands of dollars to join what is essentially just a glorified...
This is what I was talking about earlier. It's just a Discord server that, like... These dudes teach you just the most random shit, and these dudes are nobodies.
Discord server. All made possible by the millions of loyal followers he's gained in an impressively short amount of time. A cult of meat-riding zealots who value the words and opinions of a man who is currently under investigation by the Romanian police because of human trafficking, in which he responded by calling the accuser soy. Man. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves, because after all, this is a very well-liked individual. As shocking as it may be, Andrew rates pretty high on the bald guy likability chart, at least within very specific online communities. To his critics, however, Andrew is an abomination, spearheading a socially dangerous movement, the self-proclaimed king of toxic masculinity. Whether he's writing depression off as a myth, questioning the legitimacy of the 2020 election results, or spouting oddly sexist observations that are just completely wrong.
Well, it's been proven that the smartest people in the world are men.
See, that's
But
the thing. I think
that's been proven.
Some issues.
That's been
proven.
proven. That's been proven.
How?
Read the study. It's more likely men are out there.
What study?
Google it.
What
You're professional.
I googled are men smarter than women, and literally every single study says there's no difference.
I'm not. This is not sexist because I'm saying the most stupid.
But I think it's wrong. Like based on everything, I just think it's wrong. Like there's.
It is wrong.
Okay, cool.
It is wrong. You could literally Google it right now, and the number one is a woman.
It's clear that Andrew Tate has layers, but to understand who Andrew Tate is, we must first know where he comes from. So I suggest you sit tight, strap into your Bugatti Chiron, and prepare yourself for a deep dive into pure insanity.
This is my fucking world, and you exist in my world. If you don't want to play that game, shut the fuck up or I'm gonna hurt you.
For those that don't know who you are, you have been living under a rock. Can you please tell the people who Andrew Tate is?
Okay, well, I've lived an eclectic life, right? So I've lived many different lives. I like to think the reason I'm so wise is because I've lived 1,000 human years. So I've done a lot of different things. I've been broke, I've been rich, I was a professional athlete, I was a webcam pimp, I've done it all.
Emery Andrew Tate III was born on December 1st.
This dude can't believe everything he just said right there. That's...
1986 at Walter Reed Army Hospital in Washington, D.C. The eldest of two siblings, Janine and Tristan, the latter of whom we'll be discussing quite a bit, and the former being estranged from the other two.
I have a sister who doesn't talk to me, lives in America, you know, full left-wing BLM crazy, thinks that I exploit women because of my business. You know, she's just a hater. I have nothing bad to say about my sister, she just doesn't talk to me. We just don't talk, haven't spoken properly in years. Wish her all the best, I don't know, but she lives in Kentucky somewhere, I don't know.
That's right. According to both Tristan and Andrew, their sister refuses to speak to either of them. Gee, I don't wonder what could have caused that little tiff.
My sister and I, we don't really talk. We don't talk because she goes to feminist rallies and believes Trump's a racist. I know. How can Andrew Tate have a low IQ sister? She lives in America, and she's not very smart. Arguing with her, talking to her is annoying because her points are baseless. And she's low IQ.
Their father,
her points are baseless.
On the other hand, was a professor.
Points are baseless. Points are baseless. What he's trying to, I feel like what he's trying to say is that she thinks in emotions and she's not as rational and uses as much logic as I do, which is fucking completely unfounded.
chess player, an achievement both Tate brothers have always been known to laud and appreciate.
Our father was a professional chess player, driving from chess tournament to chess tournament in a Pontiac Sunbird. Sometimes he won, sometimes he lost. A lot of the time he slept in the car. Had a couple thousand here maybe, but then he had to play chess with it for the next 3 or 4 months, driving across America from California to New York in a busted up Pontiac Sunbird, playing chess and winning games.
While Andrew was still very young, his family moved from DC down to the south side of Chicago, bouncing around poorer areas of Illinois before making the jump to Luton, England, where all 3 siblings would be raised. However, not all was well within the Tate family household.
When my mom and dad split up, we moved to England, and my sister.
So they got divorced.
Sister stopped talking to my dad because obviously my mom was upset as they split up, and my dad cheated, and my
air quotes.
sister stopped talking to them.
Air quotes.
And me and my brother.
Can we just explain the quotation marks for cheating?
Okay, we can explain it. We'll explain cheating.
Yeah.
I'll come back to it in a second.
I mean, she should have expected it. I mean, that's who he
Well,
was.
you know, he walks in the door. My mom's like, Emery, where you been? It's been 2 months. I don't know where you've been. What is this? I've gone through your clothes. There's a picture of some bitch in your da-da-da. And my dad had been home for 42 minutes, and he'd just go, sorry, son, she won't shut up. Walked out again.
Yo, what? So this dude is the product of neglect. Holy fuck. And that, oh my god. So like, he reveres his dad as some type of god in some sense of the word, where like, he wanted his attention so badly that when he would come in, he then would turn around and blame his mom for him leaving, because it was her fault. If she just shut the fuck up, if she stopped nagging, if she just let him cheat, if she just, oh, okay, that's, I probably don't have to watch any of the rest of this video to figure out who this dude is.
See you in 2 months.
With the move coming off the heels of the divorce, his parents had gone their separate ways by the time Andrew was just 4 years old. It was arranged that Andrew...
What up, Ayers? I'm just bullshitting right now, talking shit about this dude.
His mother would look after the children in England, while his father stayed back in the US to compete in chess tournaments. A decision that, one way or another, directly affected the trajectory of Andrew's life.
I don't think I was necessarily too upset by it. You know, I was still, my father was very realistic with me, and he said, look, I'm still going to see you, but you're going to England. It is what it is. So I don't think I was particularly upset by it. I definitely wouldn't say I was traumatized by it. But it did alter my life trajectory because I lost my chess coach.
Andrew...
That's a very interesting way to think about losing your dad. I lost my chess coach. That's, I don't know. It just feels like you're repressing it, and you're saying those things because you want to believe it. You're saying those things outwardly because you want to believe it yourself. That's fucking wild.
He has always taken the art of chess very seriously, incorporating its skill and intricacy into his own business practices, and symbolism into his own branding. Having such an outlet diminished at such a young age must have been tough, but it wouldn't be long before he figured out how to channel his energy into another skill, one that by his own admission would be of great use no matter where he went.
With fighting, is something you internalize, and for that, for me, that was interesting.
Okay. So he's all about fighting because he doesn't know how to handle his own anger, and he needs an outlet. All right, that makes sense too.
Have something that I've always got with me at all times. So that's the reason I was interested in it, if that makes sense. As opposed to other sports where you need all this other shit for it to even be relevant.
It's safe to say Andrew's passion for fighting has remained a massive part of his character, dating all the way back to the day he was born. If you believe this unhinged biography I guess he wrote himself. 2 weeks overdue, I was nose breathing already as the doctor held me upside down by my heels and my right fist was inside my mouth as I suckled. The doctor pinched my thigh to get a response and I growled, knitting my brow and trying to crane my head up to see who had attacked me. The doctor paled, shocked at my defensive powers. I did not cry. That's awesome, man. On the side of working...
That is like the most narcissistic. I mean, I'm not torn about. I mean, personally, I'm not torn about this guy. This dude is a psychopath, and I feel like most of his beliefs, like, permeate most of the dudes that we know. Like that whole thing he just wrote about himself, dude. That's the most narcissistic shit I've ever fucking heard, bro.
a few odd jobs, Andrew grew to hone his boxing and martial arts skills, and by 2009 had gone on to win the International Sport Karate Association Full Contact Cruiserweight Championship. I understand this may sound like I'm speaking another language if you're like me and have never followed anything resembling kickboxing in your life, but anyone interested in the sport, especially around this time, would certainly come to know Andrew on somewhat of a significant scale. At one point, Andrew was ranked #1 at his weight in all of Europe. Though he lost his first world championship to Jean-Luc Benoit, he contested the results and beat Benoit in a rematch just 3 months later in Luton, where he officially became champion. Securing his second ISKA world title in 2013, Andrew traveled the world as a professional kickboxer. I'll spare you the details because frankly his athletic achievements don't concern much of this video. Regardless, after initially retiring at 28, Andrew eventually came out of retirement and famously challenged Jake Paul to a fight in 2020, sparking a feud that's lasted ever since.
I will fight you any day of the fucking week. I live in the real fucking world, Jake. I will take a few weeks break from living my retired life to kick the living fuck out of a fucking goofy, fucking entitled dickhead like you.
He runs.
That sounds like he's talking to himself, if I've ever heard a sentence more. Holy fuck. He is a goofy, bro. What the fuck?
So this whole thing, like, what color is your Bugatti? Andrew, like, it's not cool to tell kids that they need a Bugatti to be cool. My Bugatti that I have is in a Morgan Stanley bank account, compounding interest
now you're just,
and hundreds of millions of dollars. So
that's
that's cooler than having a fucking Bugatti. It's it's virgins, kids who are virgins who think by watching him they will get laid. That's who his audience is.
But I think he's training them to not get laid, and that's the problem.
Exactly.
Like I want them to get laid.
They're pissed off at girls because they've never gotten laid, and they think by being this alpha male and copying this douchebag who wears giant fucking aviators indoors on his fucking podcast, they think that's gonna get him some pussy. Like, no, Andrew Tate's fans are all virgins. And they're watching him to try to get laid, but they're gonna get spit on and slapped by a girl. That's what's gonna happen.
See, Andrew may have been a world champion, but that's not where he earned his millions. After he hung up his gloves, he needed a way to make money and occupy the time he once spent in the ring. So he continued his career in the public eye, this time by joining the 17th season of the UK's Big Brother in 2016, exerting his famous alpha male dominance over every last member of the house, by basically being too afraid to talk to anyone properly.
How awkward is this dude, bro?
We get on with everyone, so they're not going to understand.
No, but right now, with the dynamics that are going on in the house, I definitely think Marco's going to be the better choice.
Dude, a woman just talked over him. How triggered do you think he is on the inside? Holy fuck.
Well, we're going to do a vote. We're going to do a vote on this one.
Yeah.
Oh, 2 women.
It's literally so funny to see Andrew
Look at that face, bro. Look at that face. He's like, I have no idea what the fuck to do in this social environment where people aren't bowing to me.
Hailed for the Patrick Bateman-like energy he supposedly exudes, being talked over and ignored by everyone in the room. After watching so much footage of this guy talk, it's just kind of refreshing.
He seems kind of shy. I don't know. Everyone else is like interacting, and he just kind of chimes in occasionally with like, "No, we should do this." Oh. I think we should. Maybe this is before he got his giant ego.
But unfortunately, this reign didn't last long, as Andrew would soon become the first house member to be evicted a whopping 6 days after the show began.
Big Brother has called Andrew to the diary room.
Due to events in the outside world, Andrew has had to leave the Big Brother house.
What? Oh my god, that's the first one out.
That's right, Andrew Tate lasted almost 2 weeks less than even Sam Pepper. I don't know what it is with absolute freak shows going on the British Big Brother, but someone should probably look into that. With such little time actually spent on the show, navigating the scene and making awkward conversation with other house members, you must be wondering, why'd he leave so soon? Well, it depends who you ask. If you ask Channel 5, it has to do with some outside activity, accompanied by a leaked video of Andrew seemingly lashing a woman with a
Oh,
belt.
yeah.
Now, both parties have since defended the video as consensual and that the belt didn't actually hurt her, before Tate shared an image of the girl holding the belt and posing with a tattoo reading Tate's property on her pubic region. I'm not going to show the video here because it still makes me uncomfortable, and there are a few other abuse allegations we'll be sure and cover later. According to him, the real reason he was kicked off the show was because of his master plan the producers were too afraid of him enacting. To quote Andrew, "I had an amazing master plan, and the producers of the show were worried that if I did such an amazing plan and got caught, that it was going to kick off in a big way."
Like, I'm gonna do something incredible, but they just didn't let me do it, so... What the fuck? That sounds like just coke, bro.
Real shame we never got to see it. Always a little hard to know exactly what Andrew means considering his bizarre relationship with words. Which leads us to another signature aspect of Andrew Tate, his infamous persona. Whether or not Andrew is playing some kind of character or saying these things to be satirical may be clear to some, but remains undetermined in the eyes of other spectators. Which is...
Do you think, Ayers, do you think he's playing a character on purpose, or it's like on accident? I don't know. I think he's stuck playing a character for sure, but I don't know if he's aware of it.
It's reasonable enough. It's hard for any normal...
Because you see this a lot in the veteran dudes, like when they get out, they play the character of this hardcore veteran, and it was like, bro, you were a mechanic, and you never left the fob. Like, you didn't do nothing. Like, you I don't know, it's like for attention or some shit. I don't know what it is about, but...
person to watch this and assume he isn't joking.
If I were to get on a plane and that plane was to fly into the eye of a hurricane, there was a 50% chance of it crashing, I'd want a male pilot because I think that males are better under stress and under pressure. I think they're less likely to get emotional in a life or death situation. That's why they make better soldiers.
Only issue is...
On average, I mean, I guess maybe, but there's still dudes that I would not want to be in control of that plane. And I can name them. I can list those dudes.
He isn't joking, at least not according to him.
I mean what I say, but I'm funny. But it's certainly, definitely authentic. I might be delivering things in a more dynamic way depending on the setting. But all in all, that's basically pretty much what I'm like.
This is the real me. I have a showbiz version, but it's all very real. These are the things I say, these are the things I believe. These are the things I talk about in my private networks. I just don't talk about them here to public. I don't talk about them nearly as deep or as advanced.
While his diehard supporters may jump at the chance...
What did you just say? Did he just say... Let's go back a little bit.
To him.
I mean what I say, but I'm funny. But it's certainly, definitely authentic. I might be delivering things in a more dynamic way depending on the setting. But all in all, that's basically pretty much what I'm like.
This is the real me. I have a showbiz version, but it's all very real. These are the things I say, these are the things I believe. These are the things I talk about in my private networks. I just don't talk about
So he's really co-signing on these beliefs, so when you're...
Here to public, I don't talk about them nearly as deep or as advanced.
While his diehard supporters may jump at the chance to dismiss some of his more offensive language as nothing more than crude humor, Andrew himself has openly stated the contrary, insisting that every take, every opinion he lays out in front of us reflects his genuine beliefs. Now, he may lean into the douchebag persona from time to time by use of hyperbole or by getting a massage during a debate with XQC, but that doesn't mean his words represent anything other than his true school of thought. And anyone who may imply otherwise is both enabling harmful rhetoric and dismissing a major part of Andrew's identity. In fact,
so like what the dude's saying right now is like people who are saying that he's playing a character, it's like, do we really want these characters being played? I mean, I guess in some sense I'm okay with this in the sense of allowing him to talk like this because it's like a mirror of the shadow of the collective unconscious within most men, and that's probably the best way that I can describe it. And you can start to dissect these very specific beliefs or these axioms and be like, why do dudes believe that? And then you really come down to like the truth of the matter, and it's something about themselves, right? None of his takes about politics are worth a fuck. None of his takes about most things are worth a fuck. at base.
In fact, even he would consider it offensive.
I'm genuinely confused. So when the camera's off,
Yes.
I stop believing the things I've lived.
That is true.
I
Andrew,
stop believing the things I say.
He's
Only
signing.
a person with a low IQ would even contemplate that's a possibility. So when
He
someone comes
believes it
along and
all,
goes, he's
bro.
an actor, what is the logic fail?
He isn't playing a character, this isn't satire. And the more people willing to write him off as such are only aiding to normalize this kind of language going unchallenged as it gains traction in the mainstream.
You don't go to the gym to get strong, to just be weak in secret. It doesn't make sense.
That analogy doesn't
This
make
kind
sense.
of behavior from Tate is nothing new. Sure, he may have only risen to online notoriety over the past few months, but he's been known to grace tabloid headlines since before his fans exited the womb. And I know Andrew's fans may roll their eyes, but I have to give another trigger warning here, as this next segment will be discussing Andrew's various brilliant takes on sexual harassment. And by brilliant,
this is
I
gonna be
mean
good.
god-awful. In October of 2017, Andrew went on a bizarre rant that would become rightfully chastised by celebrities and news publications all
about
over
Harvey?
Europe,
Oh,
beginning
shit.
with the assertion that women coming out against Harvey Weinstein shouldn't qualify as victims if they, quote, exchange sex for opportunity. Tweeting, Harvey, creep? Obviously. But women have been exchanging sex for opportunity for a very long time. Some did this, weren't abused.
So he's basically saying that back in the day when the only jobs women were allowed to have was prostitutes, it's as good as they're gonna get outside of the home. Get the fuck out of here, dude.
Continuing, if you put yourself in a position to be raped, you must bear some responsibility. With sexual assault,
So victim blaming. Oh, well, here it goes, victim blaming right here. No women should be abused regardless. However, with sexual assault, which for some reason there's a difference, they want to put zero blame on the victim whatsoever. So she was asking for it. She knew what she was going to get when she wore that to work. So that fucking creepy ass dude, all these people, oh my god. There's like a Gillette commercial that everybody's like upset about that does the same thing. Well, like this dude's walking out of a barber shop and he's about to catcall a girl, and then the mother dude was like, bro, it's not okay. Like, I mean, you should really be putting your friends in check. Like, if the girl don't want it, bro, don't say shit to her. The moment she tells you, you know, like, haha, it's okay. Like, I know a dude who, I don't know the dude. I've just heard the story, you know, secondary, because I won't talk to him, and the person's told me not to really say anything about it, whatever. Who, like, will approach females and, like, yo, let's talk, and, you know, da-da-da-da-da. And then they're like all at the bar together, and then they get asked, he asks all of these three girls to text them when they get home to make sure they're home safe. And they have never met this dude before in their life, but he's like a friend of the group. So they're like, all right, yeah, I mean, it's weird, but okay, whatever. So they give him his number, or they give him their number, and then they all text him, you know. And then he doesn't text just one of them. He texts all three of them. Would it be weird if I said I wanted you to come back to my hotel? How fucking creepy is that? And then the same dude, after being shot down, will continue to approach these women and trying. It's like, bro, that's not your move, son. That's not your move. Same dude invites said a different girl or whatever out for like a group outing, not a date, like a group. Everybody from the shift is gonna go, and then nobody else from the shift shows up. That's fucking sus, bro. That's like date rape shit, and that's. You can't put zero blame on the victim there. Like, she expected everybody else to be there. That's, you know what I mean? That's fucking weird.
if they want to put zero blame on the victim whatsoever. Andrew continued, before going on to compare women to inanimate objects. If I left $1 million outside my front door, when it got stolen, people would say, why was it there? Irresponsible. I can say nobody should steal, it's wrong, and everyone will agree. But still, very little sympathy per my bad decision pre-thievery. A comparison so obviously egregious, I don't think you need me to sit here and explain what's wrong with it. Miraculously, finding a way to shift the blame away from women for a second to attack immigrants instead. All within the same unhinged stream of consciousness.
Was his analogy there that women showing skin or being sexual in some way is like putting $1 million out on your porch, so when a dude sees it and comes and takes it, you can't blame the dude? Like, what the fuck is this? Does he want everybody to be Puritans and wear fucking like turbans and shit? You know what I'm saying? The fucking
While liberals scream that nobody should rape, Women can walk around naked, and men shouldn't look you import waves of third world migrants, but that's a different part entirely. I'm not even sure what point he was even trying to make. Andrew's brain has been rattled by so.
No one's saying you can't look. What they're saying is you should have some type of control over your emotional regulation or your impulses to know socially that it's not okay to just go fucking rape somebody. And then, I mean, yeah, he's got a lot of concussions to his fucking prefrontal cortex, which regulates emotions, and it also regulates impulse control, so this makes perfect fucking sense.
So many concussions over the years, I'm surprised you can even string a sentence together at all. Finishing off with this deranged diatribe.
Alright, so the dude that's commenting on this, like, that was a little rude, but... Because I know a lot of people that have TBIs and shit, that was a little rude.
Tribe that quite literally no one asked for, with the conclusion, pretending women are blameless and men shouldn't rape is stupid. A profound and eye-opening take that should concern you, considering this man isn't exactly the fringe ex-reality TV schmuck he once was. He's now one of the trendiest and most well-respected influencers of today. More Googled than even Mr. Beast, revered among the manosphere as a beacon of truth shining bright in a sea of woke nonsense, even as he's weaponizing child illness against a desperate father.
What happened is some leftist guy got upset by my Twitter and attacked my Twitter and attacked me personally for about a good hour. I was ignoring him for about a good hour. He said something like, if I had your kind of money, my son wouldn't be in trouble. And then I replied, well, what's wrong with your son?
John Rosenberg is an award-winning cartoonist known for a variety of webcomics he's produced over the years. One of his sons has cerebral palsy, and a few years ago was accepted for a life-changing surgery that had the potential to treat his condition. The only issue was, as one could assume, the procedure wouldn't be cheap. But with John having a decent following online, he decided to set up a GoFundMe to provide the means needed for his son to get surgery. A noble cause that pretty much anyone on the planet could support, other than one man, Cobra Tate. After the two shared a heated back and forth in October 2017, a big month for Andrew, I guess, John remarked that if only he had the same fortune as Andrew, he'd be able to pay for his son's surgery no problem, to which Andrew responded with, do you feel like a failure that the amount you need to help your own son is less than a quarter than I spend on my 5 cars?
Bro, what? That is the most fucked up shit I've ever heard. Holy fuck. Oh my god. Oh, okay. I don't even know what to say to that. Do you feel like a failure that the amount you need to help your son is less than a quarter than I spend on one of my 5 cars? It's one thing, well, I'm glad it only had 20 comments and 3 likes, holy shit. It's one thing to be rich and not be able to help everybody, but it's another thing to go out of your he put effort into making this comment. I mean, everybody says it's just a tweet or it's just a comment or whatever, but you put effort to make sure that people knew this is how you felt. You expressed yourself and this is how you chose to do it, bro? Like, come on.
I will help you if you ask.
Oh,
it's nothing to me. Your comic
beg me and look up. Oh my god.
Books have failed, but I am a success. Ask nicely and I'll save your son.
Bro, I'm the type of dude where, like, if I see this interaction going on, I'm fully okay with this John dude knocking this dude the fuck out. You could definitely, or shooting him in the leg at least. No, maybe not that.
Going on to doubt the existence of his child's medical condition entirely, falsely accusing John of lying about his son's cerebral palsy before repeatedly insisting he begged him for money. When in reality, John responded to this little offer with, you can take your money and shove it up your superior asshole, Cobra Potato. Come punch me already. So, you know, I wouldn't exactly call that begging. Plus, unbeknownst to Tate, John had already reached his goal with over 1,000 people raising $65,000 in just a week. All before the top G ever extended his selfless...
I wonder if that kid got help. I'm gonna look that up real quick.
offer. But that didn't stop him from taking credit and reveling in the glory provided by his brainwashed fans, retweeting one post that read, "Andrew, the hero we don't deserve but badly need." As far back as this exchange may have been, it's important to realize just how little has changed over the course of so many years. In 2022, Andrew Tate is just as much of a scumbag narcissist as he was half a decade ago. His fans rallied behind his provocative words back then just as they do now, contributing to the harassment of a father who only wanted to provide for his family. A father taking action to help his own son is a sentiment you'd think Andrew would be able to understand if he had even a modicum of sympathy or compassion for anyone that wasn't himself. But as evident by his views on depression, we already know that is
depression isn't real.
House, right? You have two people in two haunted houses. One believes in ghosts and one doesn't. You hear some noise in the night. The wind blows, right? The man who believes in ghosts is like, oh no, a ghost. Now he's scared. The guy who doesn't believe in ghosts goes, wind, whatever, and goes back to sleep. Do you understand that it's the belief that gives it power?
Right.
If you don't believe in ghosts, the ghosts can't hurt you. If you don't believe in depression, you can't become depressed. And I refuse to believe in something that's going to weaken me. Why would I believe in something that's going to weaken my ability to deal with problems in life? Why would I do that?
About a month.
It's one thing to say the belief, if you don't believe in something, it's not real, which in some sense is true, where if he took his own advice, if he didn't believe women were less than him, the women would not be less than him. But to say that if you don't believe in depression, you will never get depressed is categorically wrong. Because in some instances, it's beliefs about yourself that cause you to be depressed. So in some senses, his narcissism is keeping him from being depressed, but it's also restricting him from being able to have direct access to reality, where he lives in a world of his own projections. And to me, that would be like living in a world of just complete lies and never knowing what's actually real. Am I creating all of this, or am I actually a good person? Do people actually like me, or are they just here for my money, or are they just playing? Like, for me, that's my greatest fear, is whether or not people like me for me, or if I'm actually good enough to be liked, I guess. That statement explains a lot about his personality.
A month prior to the GoFundMe situation and the Weinstein tangent, Andrew Tate provoked the entire internet with some pretty brash assertions, tweeting, "Depression is not something you catch from the sky. Take responsibility for yourself and your life. Push forward and it's gone. Fact." Not even a week before World Suicide Prevention Day, Andrew decided...
Hold on, I need to listen to that again.
Do you understand that it's the belief that gives it power?
Right.
If you
Facts.
don't believe in ghosts, the ghosts can't hurt you.
If you don't believe women are less than you, women aren't less than you. True.
If you don't believe in depression, you can't become depressed.
Not true.
And I refuse to believe in something that's going to weaken me. Why would I believe in something that's going to weaken my ability to deal with problems in life?
So by believing that women are less than you, he's never going to get married, which is something that he talks about wanting. He's never going to get married, and he's never going to have kids, because any woman that wants to be with that, I don't know. That's a big project.
Why would I do that?
About a month prior to the GoFundMe situation and the Weinstein tangent, Andrew Tate provoked the entire internet with some pretty brash assertions, tweeting, "Depression is not something you catch from the sky. Take responsibility for yourself and your life. Push forward and it's gone. Fact."
To be fair, there is some truth in what he just said there. And that low-key upsets me, because I don't want to like anything that this dude says, but I have to be, I have to be intellectually honest, I guess. That's how I try to avoid living in that world of illusion. So to take responsibility for yourself and your life is a big truth there, but that take responsibility specifically about your childhood is hard. It's like, I mean, I guess I could say something along the lines for him, where take responsibility for yourself in that situation when he grew up as a child, where his dad walked in. It's like, is that really how you should be treating women? Is that really what you would want for your relationship for your daughter to have? Like, a man that treats her that way? So you really have to look down at women, and there's a lot of anger there. So take responsibility for yourself and your anger that you have towards your mother, and it's not your mom's fault, right? So that's I get that. I can see what he's talking about there is, and then push forward. I mean, there's some truth about when you're depressed, you really have to make yourself get up, and like all of us will say that it's impossible, but all of us also know, like low key, that it is possible. And then it's like this for loop where I can't get up, but I know I should get up, but I can't get up because I know I should get up, and I'm procrastinating getting up, and then it's just this, and then you kind of have to force yourself. But this last part, and it's gone, is not true. It's not true. It's
Not even a week before World Suicide Prevention Day, Andrew decided to label depression as a personal weakness instead of a medical condition that obviously exists according to virtually every physician on the planet. But hey, I'd rather listen to the guy who gets kicked in the head for a living. Now, this opened up a days-long firestorm of debates involving celebrities like Patton Oswalt, medical professionals like Dr. Vikas Shah, and even J.K. Rowling, who actually pulled her head out of her ass long enough to make a few decent points for once. Responding, this thread will teach you
I don't know why everybody hates J.K. Rowling so much.
a lot about the defense mechanism of projection, but zero about the real mental illness that is depression.
I really like what she just said. Yeah. The defense mechanism of projection. So when he's saying stuff like that, he's really trying to tell himself, like, he wants it to be real for him, because that's the way that he's coping with his problem, and he wants it to be the way that you cope with the problem, so that he's not actually doing the wrong thing. And when you go to therapy, you start to realize that those are the types of lies that you tell yourself, and you don't even fucking realize you're doing it. And that's my biggest fear now. And that's what I mean by living in a lie, where I've lived in a lie for a lot of years, like upwards of a decade. And when that firmament, I guess, finally shattered, it was terrifying, and it was also like freeing. Because you just project all of this, your own bullshit onto around you, and it is a defense mechanism, because you're afraid to be honest with yourself because of the feeling that it would elicit within you. Yeah, therapy helps.
Defense mechanism of projection, but zero about the real mental illness that is depression. Now, the thread in question is of course gone, seeing that Andrew has been kicked off the platform many times over. But according to this article from around that time, author Michael Tannenbaum highlights these posts and shows Andrew doubling down in his argument, spouting things like, everyone's depressed nowadays, tweeting me, I'm depressed, and I think, wow, it must suck to lose it life that hard. Boo-hoo. Depression is overprescribed by 10,000%. Weakness is celebrated. Personal responsibility is absolved. That's
there it goes right there. Personal responsibility. It's your fault. It's your fault. Yeah. He just
the reality. The way depression is so violently defended is strange. So desperate to be unhappy and have an excuse to not change it.
Holy fuck. Can you, alright, so I really want to like hone in on how these are projections. So this first one, depression is overprescribed, personal responsibility is absolved. And then this next one where he says, I hope I don't fuck this up. So desperate to be unhappy and have an excuse not to change it. So he's basically saying that if you're depressed, he believes there's no way to change it. And he's probably going to make some statement about like medication, as far as like the avatar or your body basically being a mechanistic structure, which isn't true either. Like, you can change the way that you handle your thoughts, and that's literally what cognitive behavioral therapy does. When you're dealing with those automatic thoughts, the ones that like Alan Watts talks about, the first step is like paying attention to your thoughts and like becoming aware of what it is that you're thinking. And then the next step is, why did I think that? And like, I'm in the process of quitting smoking, so a lot of my automatic thoughts are being brought up by my body physically because I'm so fucking agitated all the time. I have so much agitation, like frustration in me. But that feeling comes up, or that tone, as Carl Jung calls it, like a feeling tone. I'm able to become aware of this feeling, and then it's usually when people are like talking behind me and I'm trying to focus on something, and it's like, dude, they're distracting me. It's their fucking fault. Why aren't they paying attention to what I'm doing? They just need to get the fuck out of here and leave me the fuck alone. But that's so narcissistic and egotistical, where like I'm the only thing in the world that matters. And the only time that is like really true is during or I guess the way, not necessarily true, but when you can't really control that is during like one of Erickson's stages of psychological development. Where is it? Is it this one? Yeah, so ego integrated. No, it's Piaget. Maybe it's Piaget. Schemas. I'd have to look it up a little bit longer, and I don't really feel like doing that right this second. I'll come back after I've looked it up a little bit, but I think it's from 3 to 6. It's here. Initiative versus guilt. Is it okay for me to do, move, and act? But it's also, they can't really, when you have a child at that age, they can't see anything other than themselves, insofar as like understanding that other people have emotions and other people have wants and needs. The only thing that matters is mine. And that's kind of where I'm going with this dude.
Big Pharma supports the depression lie. You can't fix it yourself. Tate is crazy. It can only be cured with meds. Keep popping the pills. Since my post, I've had tons of previously and currently depressed people telling me I'm 100% correct.
So you're basically, this is a false attribution, I guess is the word, where like you're making something mean something that it doesn't necessarily mean. And it's that just because people tell you that you're right doesn't mean you're actually right. Because what if all of those other people believe the same lie that you believe? So then you're all just fucking wrong. And it just seems like all of these people want this to be true because, I don't know, therapy fucking helps, dude. Go. I'm telling you. Right? I have 3 fucking combat tours to Iraq and Afghanistan. I'm infantry, whatever, you know, like I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, the whole whatever. And yeah, I know many of us have gone, and I know almost all of us it has helped, and the ones that it didn't help, I feel as if they weren't really ready for it to help yet. And it teaches you a lot of very powerful things, because this reprogramming of your mind takes a long time, and it is hard work. It's really easy to go to the gym and like see a weight and then pick it up, you know what I mean, because you have a physical thing that you're working with. Like it's in the physical, and I know how to use my body and the schema of my body and how to move it. And that's really what the gym is really good at, and you have this mind-body connection, which is really powerful in and of itself. However, when you're talking about the work that you're doing in your mind, the shadow work, you're working with, the closest thing that we have to understand what this is either A, dark matter, or B, psionic shit with like energy forces that are inside of your head, because my thoughts may not necessarily be physical, but they are a fucking thing. And then I have to work those, and then at some point it's like machine learning, and at some other points it's like AI. And if you don't understand what those concepts are, some of this stuff, it gets harder to do. So the more therapy you go to, I think that this progression in another area, this other knowledge base, you can take the geometry of it and help you in this other area. Because, I mean, there's a lot of mathematical principles where you use inference to solve the problem. Like that's what most of algebra and calc and stuff is, when you're using variables. But
correct. A
rant over.
bombardment of anecdotal stories and frankly childlike arguments that hardly hold.
You know, imagine the timing there, where they were talking about anecdotal stories and I just went on a fucking 3-minute rant.
Up in the face of actual evidence and numbers regarding depression. For instance, Mental Health America notes 50 million adults in the United States who
I just saw your
illness in
comments.
2019 alone, which is about.
I've met plenty of people who I believe hide behind every diagnosis they have, whether it was made by a doctor or by themselves, and they seem to blame every shortcoming on their conditions. But to use that as a blanket case that applies to everyone is pretty damn. Yeah, I agree. And I think that those people that are doing that, you know what I'm saying, where they're hiding behind their diagnoses or whatever, it's the same thing as like letting themselves get away with whatever the fuck it is that they want, because that's just who I am and I can't change. It's almost like it's my same problem with predeterminism in religion, where like your lot in life is given to you and you can't fucking change it, because my life has changed. I was a different person when I was a kid and I was doing drugs, and then I joined the army, and then now I'm like reinventing myself again. And you can change and you can get better, and it does. And then telling people that you can't, like, locks them in a box.
19% of all adults, and those are just the ones who reported it. A more recent 2022 study cites that over half these individuals have not sought treatment, totaling to at least 27 million people in the US suffering from mental illness without any prescriptions or professional assistance. I'm not saying that instances of overprescribing don't happen, they do, but Andrew is deliberately showing one side of a way more nuanced discussion as a means to be brash and justify the conclusions he's.
To be fair, I don't know if he's necessarily doing that because he wants to, but because it gets him famous for sure. Being exorbitant and bombastic or whatever definitely gets you views. Motherfuckers hate. I'm hate viewing this dude right now. Like, it gets you views.
Already made. It's crucial we work to normalize these issues as much as possible, not dismiss them and ostracize those who are struggling with depression.
Hold up. Modern think bullshit has made trillions giving antidepressant pills when all they need is a better diet, exercise, and a life purpose. Sure, those three things will definitely help, but that doesn't assess the root here, and those pills are trying to assess the root, because there are some brain, like, yeah, there are some, genetic things that go into depression as well. How can you be too depressed to work when people in war zones aren't? Because we repress it. That's how. We just don't feel it. You think we aren't depressed? Holy fuck, this dude is up his own ass. Jesus. It was refreshing to see Prison Planet has been saying, okay,
Depression. Pitting the root of depression on weakness.
Depression isn't real. You feel sad, you move on. You will always be depressed if your life is depressing. Change it.
Simplifies the very real, legitimate factors that may be contributing to your ailment. Factors that are often out of your control. But don't listen to me, take it from Robin Williams' daughter, who responded to Andrew's tirade with, whatever your intention, this happy people telling the depressed to get off their ass mentality is harmful, problematic, and wholly useless,
Facts.
she wrote. There are no experts in happiness, and he's clearly not an expert in depression. There is pain in suffering. There shouldn't be shame. To those internet bros out there who think that manning up means showing a complete lack of empathy, fear the day you need it. It'll come.
People come at me and think they're smart. And they say, well, what about Robin Williams? He was famous. He killed himself, blah, blah, blah. And I say, yeah, and I'll tell you.
Dude, what is with this? The bulldog mindset. Like, all of these dudes that call themselves alpha males are like trying to believe it themselves. Like, that's fucking
I'll tell
crazy.
you why he killed himself. He killed himself because of people like you who are telling him depression is real, not people like me. If he would have walked into his first therapy session and his therapist said, look, Robin, you're a millionaire, you're famous, you can fuck any woman alive. You coming here is insulting to people with PTSD and genuine conditions. Grow up and get the fuck out my office. I guarantee he'd still be alive.
But these...
Depression is a symptom of PTSD. Dude, oh my god, dude. Robin Williams was a fucking king. And like, you can see... This dude is a fucking psychopath.
Opinions make sense when we consider how much of Andrew's worldview is rooted in traditional values. Upholding
Facts.
patriarchal ideas and blaming society's downfall and its deviation from what was once considered moral and correct. It was reported that even back in 2018, Andrew ranted about the decline of Western civilization on Facebook after seeing a poster at the airport encouraging girls to go on holiday as opposed to encouraging being a loving mother and a loyal wife. Andrew believes a woman's primary role is to serve her husband rather than pursuing a life or career of her own.
If you're not going to have children, what are you going to do with your lives?
Travel, just pursue anything that makes me happy, try to make money.
Travel, focus on my career, things like that.
I honestly just want to get right into my career.
Do whatever the fuck I want.
A life without children is vapious. And it's inane and it's pointless. And when you're
Did he mean vacuous? I don't.
You're 52 and you're past it with no grandchildren in a house by yourself, and all your friends have grandchildren in this beautiful life, and you're sitting there by yourself. Do you think the fact that you could afford a few extra Gucci bags is going to genuinely make you feel happy?
How does he not hear himself talking right now? This is literally the advice that he needs to hear, coming out of his own mouth. This is what I mean by projections. You are you literally... Alright, so one of the things that I've done personally after all of this therapy that I've done is I realized that you once start to realize that you're trapped within your own sensory apparatuses. So it's very depressing when you start to think like that. However, it's also true to the sense of like your brain hallucinates everything. So your brain is interpreting and then giving this signal to you. So you can see the world in a sense as, why did my brain pick this up? Because, for instance, when you're looking at objects, your brain starts to place things there that you aren't focusing on. It fills the gaps for you. It also does this with audio, where when you, let's say you're sitting on the couch, or no, Hudson said it the best when on a different podcast, where when you walk into a room and people are laughing and then you start to hear them talking about you. That's what I mean by your brain projects these things into the world around you. But you also, when you're giving somebody else advice, that's the advice you need for yourself. So when he's saying this, these Gucci bags, just replace the word Gucci bag with Bugatti, or fancy car, or fucking a bunch of bitches. It's not going to make you happy at the end of the day. What is going to make you happy at the end of the day? And I feel like once you really get into that sense of, you know, are you your thoughts, or can you see your thoughts? Are you the thing that is aware of the thing? And that sounds really confusing, but if you close your eyes or you think about an object, what is the thing that is aware of the object that you're creating? And it's you. So you aren't your thoughts, you are the thing that is aware of your thoughts. So when your brain is then giving you these messages or these signals, you can then start to interpret them, and you don't have to go off your first response. You can then sit there and be like, why is it that I heard this statement? How does that apply to me? Like, where do I... And you do like this mental check with your echo, where you try to figure out how this applies to me and where does it resonate with me the most. And in his case, it sounds like it should resonate with like what he wants for his future. And he's not going to get what he wants in his future if he's doing what he does today. And the thing that's keeping him from changing any of this is his beliefs about women, which is his relationship with his mother. It's fucking...
These are hardly new principles. In fact, they've been widely preached for the past century. But because our world is slightly more progressive now than it was in the 1950s,
thankfully,
Andrew is suddenly lauded by modern reactionaries as brave for exhibiting these thoughts freely, going against the grain and speaking his mind whenever and however he wants. And why shouldn't he? It's gotten him this far, hasn't it? Andrew Tate has built an empire off telling people what he thinks and why his ideas are objectively correct. Which would be one thing if those ideas didn't consist of women can't drive and should be treated as property.
I think my sister is her husband's property, yes. When a bride is walking down the aisle to marry the groom, the father walks next to her and gives her away. I'm not saying anything which is really, truly even controversial. The whole world agreed that the woman belongs to the man
So he's essentially just making the argument from the patriarchy. He's doing an appeal to authority here. The patriarchy has been in charge since the fucking beginning. Men have been in charge since the beginning. That does not mean inherently that we are better than women. Might does not equal right, because some of the strongest dudes are the fucking dumbest. We would not be anywhere near... I wouldn't be talking on this fucking computer if that was true. This dude's fucking ridiculous. And then this statement about giving away your daughter to another man like she is your property, that's not the dude, that's fucked. And that whole system, yeah, no.
She decides to give herself to me.
I mean, if you knew anything about Andrew before clicking this video, it's that he isn't exactly the poster child of modern day feminism.
A lot of these dudes talk about fertility and looks and stuff. If I meet a girl who's 33 and single, I know the amount of dick that's been through her before me is just simply unattractive. If I get a 19-year-old girl, I might be her second or third man, right? But in general, this is also one of the...
So you're scared of other dudes? I don't understand. Or don't go for those women? I don't get it.
The reasons men find youth attractive. You want to blow up the internet? I'll
Yo, be careful, bro.
Blow up the internet right now. The reason 18 and 19-year-olds are more attractive than 25-year-olds is because they've been through less. I'll say this right here on the internet. Once
Yo, that's really close to fucking pedophilia, bro.
you're 18, if you want to get yourself a real man, I know a guy.
Wait, did he just say once you're 18? Is he talking to a minor?
You do.
I do, yeah. I do know a guy.
What a fucking scumbag.
It's a long story. I can't tell you exactly who because there's bad things about him.
Yo, there's no way you just said that.
Casually comparing
What a
women to the
fucking
likes
turd,
of
bro.
animals or inanimate objects without even thinking about it, dehumanizing language is just embedded in his vocabulary. When pressed by Barstool's Dave Portnoy, Tate went on the defensive, stating that any woman who views herself as equal to a man is the exact kind of woman he would never give his time of day.
But there are also plenty of women who view themselves as every bit the equal of a man.
Those are the exact kind of women. The exact kind of women I would never ever give my time of day to.
And if a woman has an OnlyFans, that's fine, but she must owe her boyfriend her earnings because at the end of the day,
that's prostitution. That's pimping, bro.
Stuff about women like that they're your property.
I said that if a woman is going out with a man, she belongs to that man. That's his woman. So if she wants to do OnlyFans, she owes him some money because she's his.
What about the other way around?
In a relationship, and if she wants to sell those, he has a stake in
Yeah,
those.
what about the other way around?
So it's reverse. Male porn star owes the woman.
I don't know. I think the women belong to the man. I think the woman.
That's inherently where you get.
It's worth noting that Andrew doesn't allow his girlfriends to go to the club without him, stating in one clip, I expect absolute loyalty from my woman, he says. I ain't having my chicks talking to other dudes, liking other dudes. My chicks don't go to the club without me. They are at home.
Bro, that just sounds like that old video, fucking Unforgivable, where he's like, you ain't allowed to have no other brothers. I ain't dealing with no other.
Spoken by a true secure alpha.
What
Keep
a
in mind, Andrew has
weirdo.
also gone on the record to say he doesn't
This
believe
dude's a
female
goofy,
pilots should
bro.
exist on account of their inability to park a car, and that women can barely be trusted to drive because every car accident that Andrew has experienced has involved a woman.
What's
I
the
guess I
common
forgot
denominator?
He was also involved in those accidents,
It's you,
but
bro.
check, we'll let that slide for now. Andrew's riskier takes rely more on surface level shock value than actual facts and statistics,
True.
becoming especially clear after being demolished by Hassan Piker live on stream.
I've
That
seen
dude's a
some of your
weirdo,
work
too.
as you're doing the rounds on Twitch here, and a lot of the things that you said are just generally untrue. There's no empirical evidence to back up those claims, which is why you resort to anecdotes quite frequently and say things like, oh, well, it's just common sense, right? But it's not technically common sense.
My personal opinion based on my personal biases of my life experience.
There is a truth, and then there is your
the
own
truth
personal opinion backed by anecdotes from your own personal experiences.
The fact that you're going on the internet, finding some study and saying that this is the truth, especially after the age of COVID and all the fucking truth we were told with that garbage, you want to sit here and say, oh, the internet said X. I'm sure the internet did. I'm talking about my personal experiences, and some people agree with me and some people do not. That
I don't think he understands what empirical evidence means.
is perfectly fine. Don't give a fuck if people agree with me or otherwise. People are listening to me and they're either
I
agreeing
know,
with me or
but
they're
you're
not
still wrong, and that's the problem.
I disagree with you.
Do you want to be right, or do you want to keep speaking into a hug box where people agree with you?
Yo,
simply
that
asking
fucking
you
echo chamber, he called it a hug box. Savage, bro.
to look at the data.
So let's change the subject because you've just proven your point.
Okay, Andrew, do you believe? Well, you didn't really prove anything, but it's cool. Do you believe the Earth is flat?
Yeah,
Oh, he took his headphones off.
He gets very stressed sometimes, and you know.
Yeah,
Oh, it's real
yeah,
alpha,
it's cool.
bro.
It's important.
Real alpha.
Brother, and I
It looks
respect-
flat. It feels flat, but you believe it's round. Why do you believe the Earth is round?
because I have personal experience that would prove to me that the Earth is round.
Oh, you have personal experience. What happened? Did you go up to the fucking moon? Is that how you figured it out?
Exactly. I flew up into space and I looked down on Earth.
Oh, cope.
Yeah.
Cope.
That's crazy. Okay,
Down there.
you don't have to.
Look
Hey,
down there.
listen, you don't have to concede on that point, but I think you and I both understand the importance of empirical evidence in that one, right?
You've ruined the stream. Everyone wants you out of it. So either change tune and get with the program and be fun, or keep sitting here and talking sarcastic and really slowly and repeating yourself and talking about how you only believe what you see on the internet because no one really gives a fuck. And it's boring. All right, so let's move on.
It's clear from this exchange alone that Andrew reaches a conclusion first and works backwards from there, justifying his flawed positions any way he can, even if all the evidence he has is purely anecdotal. It's why he believes women to be stupider than men, despite scientific evidence proving otherwise. I personally don't understand how anyone can listen to someone so stubborn and unwilling to change their mind on anything, but that's besides the point. Andrew's inherently misogynistic ideals lie at the center of his character, a cornerstone of his success. They've remained consistent for as long as he's been online. The only difference is now he's able to push them to a much wider, more susceptible audience, garnering more than 8.5 million views on a video where he says this.
And I'm also saying that if a man did decide to explore his options, it would not be as disgusting as if a female decided to explore options.
Okay, will it just be disgusting then?
No. It's different if a woman does it. It's different if a woman does it. Everyone watching this knows.
Why are
it's
you
different if a
yelling?
woman
Why are you getting
cheats.
so
It's
emotional,
different.
bro?
What kind of relationship do you
Why is he getting so fucking emotional? God damn.
have with your mother?
To me, this is the video that pushed Andrew from being a niche micro-influencer to the social media juggernaut he is today, making appearances on huge podcasts all in the last 2 months of me recording this, invited into the Twitch zeitgeist by the 6th largest streamer on the platform and a MILF token beneficiary, Aiden Ross.
Anthony donated $3. The Taliban says hello.
Good, buddy.
The bottom line here is that Andrew Tate has weaponized his new position in the mainstream in order to peddle a business of misogyny. It's one of the varied reasons he's been able to maintain such wealth. His educational courses generate millions of dollars per month. Take the PhD program, for example. For the low price of £778, you too can master the ways of a true professional and obtain your honorary PhD, your pimpin' hose degree, as he calls it. In fact, why don't we look at the original course description to get a better understanding? My name is Andrew Tate. I'm the most competent person on the entire planet to teach you about male-female interactions. How did I become rich? Webcam. I've been running a webcam studio for nearly a decade. I've had over 75 girls work for me, and my business model is different than 99% of webcam studio owners. Over 50% of my employees were actually my girlfriend at the time, and out of all my girlfriends, none were in the entertainment industry before they met me.
What? Bro, that's grooming. That's literally the definition of grooming. Holy fuck. That's human trafficking. Okay. Oh my god. Oh. Do you think that, like, human trafficking is only, like, in Taken, where these girls just get snatched up from the street, bro? Like, no. You get groomed into it like this, and then you get... Oh my god.
I don't know if that's a flex. First thing, keeping 4 girlfriends all happy is hard work and leaves you with very little time. So you learn how to streamline getting new, good girlfriends. All women are not created equal. This is how I came up with what is now the PhD system. I learned the most time-efficient way to meet girls, get them through the dating process, get them to bed, test if they're a good girl or not, and begin the process of them falling deeper and deeper into love. That is my skill, to extremely efficiently get women to fall in love with me. That's it, and no one else on the internet is teaching this. No one.
Dude, he's just talking to 14-year-old kids right now. I could just... These kids just hit puberty and they're like, ah, I want that. I want that. Oh my god.
Which is a lot to lay out there. In fact, I guess it's no wonder he's since removed the subscription after it caused an uproar online. This webcam business of his has remained an area of question since it was profiled by the UK's Sunday Mirror, in which they described the Tate brothers' business as a total scam. Oh wait, except that's not the Mirror saying that. It's Andrew and Tristan themselves telling you they're running a scam.
My first 2 girls who worked for me because they loved me. I love this man. I am with this man. We're a team. He's going to take me from the ghetto streets to the hotel suites, right? So we're working together.
According to the Tate Bible, Andrew's own book that I read so you don't have to, you're welcome, thank me later, Tate introduces his business by writing, beautiful women work for me and make me millions of dollars. They obey me because they love me. They clean my house and make me coffee.
This
and
is
get
grooming.
naked on demand. That's how I make over $300K
Oh my
a
god,
month.
they
I
clean
own a
my
webcam
house and get naked for me on demand. What 14-year-old boy doesn't want that?
Studio. It's no secret, I've never tried to hide it. The girls sit on a computer and make huge sums of cash. No man touches them except me. Everyone's happy, especially
So he has a stable.
me. The webcamming business doesn't seem to exist now in the capacity that it once did, but it was originally how the two made their fortune following Andrew's departure from fighting, and the reason why 22 girls now have Andrew's name tattooed on their bodies, but maybe that's another story. According to what they told the Mirror, their studio employed over 72 scantily clad models.
Yo, imagine that all these girls were like foreign and he just stole their passports and shit.
Taking calls from fans paying $4 a minute. They can also set up private shows and pay tips at their own risk, whatever that means. While some men plummet into debt, others put up tens of thousands of their inheritance for these women, at least according to Tristan, who feels no remorse because no one cares, and it's their problem, not mine. These models were paid to scam men online, lying about their grave living conditions, pretending to have medical emergencies, dying family members, eviction notices. Andrew and Tristan's webcam empire encapsulates.
So I mean, yeah, he got rich or whatever, but like, look at the way he did it, bro. It's kind of a fucking tool.
It's the specific business model the Tates have always employed, defrauding a particularly naive and desperate crowd.
He's preying on the weak. Now that he's doing it again, where he's telling you that he knows how to help you get women so that you don't pay for his webcam service. Get the fuck out of here.
In order to stack their millions higher. Good thing their scamming days are over and they'd never do that again.
Yeah,
Huh? But how did we get to this point, and how did the webcam business even come about to begin with?
So I text all my girlfriends, I think it was 5 of them, text all 5, said, you're all coming here to live with me and work with me. None of them knew about each other. So I put them all around the same table, and I was like, look, we're gonna start a webcam business. You're gonna stay, you're gonna live in London. I'm gonna look after you, and we're gonna get rich. We're gonna be a team. And they're all like, well, who's this? I'm like, she's my girlfriend, she's my girlfriend, she's my girl. You're all my chicks.
Andrew and his brother get women. In fact, they're so secure in their sexualities, they spend pages upon pages of their book telling us about it. We were always good with women. Do you know how many girlfriends I've had? I've always been good with women.
Bro, the dude that says this shit, we all know this dude, bro. He don't be getting no bitches. And the ones that he does get, it's like mad weird the way he gets them.
Don't chase me for money. I've always been good. At what point are you just trying to convince yourself?
Facts.
Just a paragraph later, he's telling us how good he was at selling home improvement. Like, man, I don't care. How does this tell me how to get women and become a top G? Finally admitting that the problem with women is how expensive they are. In their own words, the two realized they needed a better system. And after seeing the potential in webcamming, the brothers realized how to put the apparent harem of women around them to work. Rather than me going out slaving all day, I had a few chicks of my own. I put one on webcam in my apartment, then we had 4 girls on cam in 2 bedrooms, one after the other. I slept in the hall. I was that money hungry, wrote Tristan. From there, the brothers were able to upgrade to a 5-bedroom penthouse in Hertfordshire, raking in huge profits before leaving the UK for Romania, around the time they made their first $1 million. But why the sudden move to Eastern Europe, you may ask? Well, I'll let Andrew explain.
People say, why did you live in Romania? And I explain my 5 reasons. One of them is the Me Too era. If you ever go to the police and say you me back in 1988, they're gonna say we should have done something about it then. They go, oh, well, you're a rapist. I say, no, I'm not fucking rapist. But I like the idea of being able to just say to do what I want. I like being free.
Yeah, I did not edit that. A main reason Andrew moved to Romania, where he currently resides, is because of a lower chance of being caught for sex crime.
Any previous he said that it is easier to get off on rape charges in an Eastern European country, explaining that it's 40% of the reason I moved to Romania. Tate said, I'm not a fucking rapist, but I like the idea of just being able to do what I want. I like being free. If you're a man living in England or Germany or America or any Western world right now, you've dedicated to live where any woman at any point in the future can destroy your life. Wow.
And they still got raided.
Romania is a beautiful place. There's no feminists. There's no open homosexuality. It's corrupt, which suits me because I'm rich.
Yeah.
Excuse me, you were speeding. Yeah, sorry, mate. What's the? I have to pay a fine? Yes, you must pay a fine. Okay, yeah, bye.
No, it's not like we haven't seen this before in Afghanistan, where you just pay it off and you can be as corrupt as you fucking want. Yeah, that's really the society that we're trying to build. It's crazy.
It's corrupt. Fucking love. No immigrants and refugees.
Back in 2018, it was
You are
reported
an
that
immigrant.
Andrew was involved in an altercation that took place at a nightclub. According to him, a man knocked his phone out of his hand at the club, and when he tried to fight back, he punched a woman by accident, breaking her jaw, and being investigated by British police for abusing another woman. Andrew
That's
had his
an
phone
L, bro.
raided the first time and devices confiscated before being detained for 2 days in the UK, at least as outlined in The Guardian. Around the time UK police were investigating abuse allegations, Tate is understood to have left the UK for Romania. So
he fled the country. Holy shit.
their sudden move to a West European country with notoriously relaxed sexual assault laws, coming off the heels of an investigation by British authorities, all be nothing more than a big coincidence? Of course, and I would never allege anything otherwise.
Never hit a girl, right? Can't do that. But
we learned that the hard way last week.
You can't know. But if all the
What does
other
that
girls
mean?
see me be disrespected, they're gonna lose respect for me.
Facts.
Right?
Yep.
So when she's like, I ain't cleaning that up, you get that. So I was like, look, I don't care. Got her shit out the window. So throws it out the window. Got her by her 2 arms and marched her out the door, locked the door, ended it. She went to the police.
Oh shit.
And told the police I hit her. When I didn't. 4 months later, I'm laying in bed. And I heard the door. Boom,
Or
boom,
just
boom,
don't
boom.
live this type of life.
Police. But I didn't know what it was for, right? But there's a few things I can't say in the podcast. I've lived a varied life, right? I've done some things.
So he's just admitting to crimes.
So I was
over
a bit
and
like,
over and over
what's
again.
this gonna be? So I like flush my phone down the toilet quickly.
How the fuck do you flush your phone down the toilet?
I'm coming! And they're like, you're under arrest for a suspicion of assault of this dumb hoe. And I'm like, wait, is it dumb hoe?
According to them, the whole reason they started the webcam business was because of the plethora of women constantly around the house. They figured if the girls were there, they may as well monetize them, literally how they describe it in their book. In fact, when Tristan's girlfriend at the time refused to cam, he dumped her on the spot. He was dead set on using women to make money, and he didn't care what relationships got in the way of the bag. I mean,
Looks
just
like
the
a
way they
psychopath.
discuss actual human beings with each other is insane. If any girl got quote-unquote fresh with Tristan or Andrew, they were gone. They had adopted a new modernized way of pimping women online for profits, and they've since encouraged their audience to do the same, advising if your girl won't wave her titties at a computer, if that girl won't do it for you to help change both of your lives, get rid of her straight away because she ain't ever gonna help you do shit. Going on to brag about sleeping with every woman they've hired, all but one from Lithuania, who only sucked Andrew's dick, writing, she escaped, I guess.
What the fuck?
What the fuck does that mean? There's no secret to how we made our money, gentlemen. We were
Yeah, human trafficking. That's crazy.
internet pimps, and that's exactly what they encourage you to do as well, just so long as you buy their PhD course and gain direct access to the legendary Tristan Tate. Only if it's anything like their other courses, you may want to save your money.
Cobra is not someone I would take advice from, and definitely not someone I would buy a course from if I was looking to learn about marketing, e-commerce, Amazon FBA, or any online business.
Andrew likes to think of himself as Morpheus, breaking you out of the Matrix by forcing a red pill down your throat and screaming in your face that you will get rich just as long as you listen to his advice. I mean, he is the only human being possibly capable of teaching you the key to money making and business strategies because after all, he has supercars, mansions, a lavish life that you wish you had. As long as you're below Andrew's financial status, you are poor, and you need to change that in order to be fulfilled.
I, Tate, Lord of Earth, set the bar. I set the difference
Did he just call himself Lord of Earth?
between rich and poor. My amount of money is the amount of money you need to be rich.
Dude, this
You have
has to be
less
an
money than
act.
me even by a single
This has to be an act.
cent. You're a fucking brokey, a wagey, a peon, a peasant, a nobody. You are poor.
But that all comes after you give him a quick
inflammatory.
$50 a month. Because what's the point of Andrew even sharing his abundant knowledge with the brokies if he can't make a quick buck in the process? Precisely at $5 million a month, in fact. With how much he's been plugging this course on streams and interviews, it's no wonder Andrew's been able to crack over 100,000 members with his goal set on over 1 million students.
100,000 active members is a lot. Like when some of these like bigger streamers only have 80 concurrent subs at a time, and they've been doing it for years and years and years. If he really has 100, that speaks to the problem more and how many men really have this fucking issue.
In the near future.
You will never achieve anything without me. That's why you need Hustlers University in the war.
Savage.
You need us. I don't need you. If you don't join,
Based.
do I stop being rich? No. I don't care if you join or not. You need me. That's what Hustlers University is about. Because I'm the only person out here who teaches people how to get fucking rich. And I do that on purpose because I want rich people around me, because when the battle comes, when the Satan returns to Earth, and I need to make the battle call to the war room soldiers, I ain't got time for no brokies.
But
so the money is gonna help you in the fucking war for your soul, bro? I feel like you missed the fucking point of Christianity.
Despite what may seem like glaring similarities to con men like Ty Lopez and Grant Cardone, Andrew Tate
I can't, dude, I can't. Oh, alright.
claims to be different. But how so? Well, let's take a look at the courses themselves. CobraTate.com offers more than a
Success is learned.
few options to change your life by selling every type of educational course under the sun. From a $200 fitness program, a $300 body language course, the $800 PhD we just talked about, and a full manga about Andrew Tate's life, Tales of Wudon. In a previous life, I lived 5,000 human years atop Wudon Mountain. I remember every lived second.
Dude, this is
Life
so
is
weirdo.
competition. Competition is violence. But I can't be the only one who noticed that Andrew Tate in this perfect world gave himself the hair. Regardless, one of the two biggest courses to Andrew Tate's name is The War Room, a $4,000 global network in which exemplars of individualism work to free the modern man from socially induced incarceration by, I don't know, shooting barrels and boxing each other.
The war room is everything outside of money, but the war room will provide you with everything about the masculine imperative, the masculine life outside of money, and those things are actually far more important.
And
I don't think this dude could enter and clear a room to save his fucking life.
Andrew is intentionally vague with what the War Room actually consists of. From the limited info we have, you gain access to a network of millionaires connected over Telegram who must prove their place in the group even after
That sounds like some shit Epstein would say. We gotta fuck a teenager, bro.
paying the pricey entrance fee. What that means exactly, I couldn't tell you. It's so secretive, the only 3 members we know of are Andrew, Tristan, and some guy named Iggy, whose main job title is Master of Spells and Shadows. That's what I'm gonna start calling myself from now on. If getting to meet and work with the self-proclaimed greatest—
Oh, my man's got a wizard, bro. Why does that dude look like Rasputin from
hypnotist to ever live, it
Oh
doesn't
my
make you want to
God.
take out a loan right now. I don't know what does. But we haven't even touched on Andrew's flagship program, the course he peddles on every interview and stream he appears on, the one you've probably already heard of in some capacity, Hustlers University.
Your worldview is about to change forever. If you have a seatbelt in your chair, put it on. If you don't, hold on tight. We're about to get rich. Right here, Hustlers University.
First thing to know is there are now 3 versions of HU. The first iteration, simply titled Hustlers University, Hustlers University 2.0, the new and improved program he's been selling for $50 a month, with the Hustlers University 3.0 being added most recently. In fact, it's so recent I barely have any information to work with. So I'd like to go ahead and start with the first version. As it may not be up for sale on Andrew's website today, copies of it still linger online, and from what I can tell, originally included Andrew sitting down with his students and explaining how business works through the means of references to the Third Reich.
I tell this to everybody all the time, and nobody understands what I'm trying to say. I'm going to try and articulate it. Speed is extremely important in business. Everything must happen instantly,
quickly, fast, speed, attack. Hitler
No.
with blitzkrieg.
Did he just bring up Hitler? No, my man just brought up Hitler.
Explaining how business works through the means of references to the Third Reich.
I tell this to everybody all the time, and nobody understands what I'm trying to say. I'm gonna try and articulate it. Speed is extremely important in business. Everything must happen instantly, quickly, fast, speed, attack. Hitler conquered Europe with blitzkrieg. You need to go quickly.
Yeah, only slightly jarring. According to Andrew, a business is like an airplane. It can't go down even when all...
Yo, that's like the epitome of being a teenager and the epitome of the problem that most people have with this new generation of like, it needs to happen right the fuck now. And it's also the problem with most people when they go to fucking therapy, because it doesn't happen instantly. You don't go into a therapy office and then be a fucking doctor the same way that you go to, you know what I'm saying, an orthopedic surgeon and you have your fucking leg broken and they set the leg. You know what I mean? It's not the same.
All engines fail, except eventually that is what happens, right?
If an airplane is flying through the sky, even if its engines fail, it will continue to fly. It will not fall out of the sky and instantly crash to the ground. It will continue to fly. Do you know
Yeah,
why?
not instantly.
Because it has forward momentum. And a
Inertia?
business is exactly the same. The key with business is to make sure you're always moving forward.
No, I'm pretty sure it doesn't always keep going forward, brother. It inevitably crashes. Does this guy literally think engine failure doesn't ultimately lead to a plane crash?
All right, so what this dude is saying right now is selective hearing. He didn't hear the fact that he said it doesn't instantly crash. He literally answered your fucking statement.
Yes. Inevitably, that plane has to land one way or the other.
Only a few minutes later, Andrew advises we lie about our business to start making money, but doesn't offer a ton of solutions for what to do once we can't fulfill any orders.
You can start businesses very, very cheaply if you do it the right way. Make a website, put some pictures on there, pretend you've got a whole bunch of stuff you ain't got, start getting money in. You can start this business for $5 grand. You're gonna start getting money in, and you're not gonna have any way to fulfill the orders. But back to business lesson number 1, because you're a fast worker, because you're industrious, because you work with speed, you'll find a way to fulfill the orders. Hey, listen, worst case, you give them the money back. Worst case, you refund them.
He then suggests that out of 40 startups costing $5,000 each, one of them has to work. Though if you did have those kinds of funds, I have no idea why you'd be sat here listening to this guy.
With $5 grand startups, you can now, for the same price as starting one company, you can now start 40 companies. One of them's gonna work.
Quick math.
Because they're $5 grand each to start. One of them's gonna work. So you have to learn that the idea of starting a business is not expensive. Get that out of your head. I'm a millionaire.
Not to mention any sort of helpful advice he may offer is just information you can find readily available online for free. Nothing that hasn't been done already, and certainly nothing profound enough to justify the cost. There's no reason to sift through hours of Andrew scribbling on a whiteboard when you can just look up proper business strategies on Google. I mean, it doesn't have to be this dramatic.
Forget studying. You can either go to university and look at books and study and be a geek, or you can learn how to make some money. Because they don't teach you that in university. They don't teach you how to make money. Have you ever seen a college professor with an S53 and a McLaren and a Lambo and an Aston Martin standing next to a Porsche? No, you've never seen any of this. I know how to make cash.
Hustlers University 2.0 is a watered-down, soulless version of the original Hustlers University, if such a thing were even possible. The biggest difference being the format. Instead of paying to listen to the man himself, you're thrown into a Discord server and assigned a random quote-unquote professor who is not Andrew Tate. You never even get to see the top G from my understanding. Probably because he's too busy marketing the damn thing in between police questioning for sex trafficking. Sorry, I keep getting ahead of myself. Let's just get through the rest of this course so we can talk about the criminal allegations. Upon joining the Hustlers University 2.0 server, you're introduced to a time cash quadrant, in which you decide if you're time rich but cash poor, time poor and cash poor, time poor and cash rich, or time rich and cash rich. If you've lost track, that's okay, none of this actually matters because you don't need this course. It's a waste of money. Whatever you choose, though, determines the group of courses you access, containing the most basic, surface
level information regarding anything from copywriting to drop shipping to freelancing. The instructors are there to make money and have been criticized for possessing no deeper understanding of what they're teaching.
So in these chat rooms where your instructors have a fraction of the charisma of Tate, you're supposed to commit yourself to these skill sets, which are super surface level.
There was some screen recordings for the website building and Facebook ad portions, but for most of it, it was just this absolutely basic PowerPoint presentation with a voiceover behind it. And the voiceover sounded like it was done through a laptop microphone. And we never even really got to see the person behind the voice. I'm not even trolling or joking. I feel like if I hired somebody on Fiverr to make me a dropshipping course, this is exactly what I would get.
What you end up doing in this course is sort of learning how to run an Amazon side hustle for Jeff Bezos. Like, no offense, you're not breaking the matrix.
One of the ways students of Hustlers University have been able to make their money is through their affiliate program, which has apparently been closed for a little while, according to them. Originally, it was to promote Tate and the course through the means of viral clips uploaded to TikTok and YouTube. So if you were wondering why Andrew was literally all over your For You page, it's because of these affiliates with an affiliate link in their bio. So we get left with an entire empire of Tate's Stan accounts peddling spliced up shorts of our top G Alpha King to the masses, generating millions of impressions based off how extreme he is. And you wonder why he's so successful. While 2.0 might be different in the way that it's taught, the core purpose remains the same. Andrew is making money off vague promises. He's not necessarily selling how to get rich, he's selling the idea of becoming rich. If he can just get you in the door and nothing else matters. He has your money, and with over 150,000 members and counting, Andrew is able to turn a 7-figure profit each month purely off subscriptions alone. Yeah, you may make a couple bucks here and there, but it's ultimately benefiting him and his brother more than anyone else. To think you need to pay over $4,000 a year just to make money on the side is ridiculous. Money can be made anywhere without having to listen to these cartoony villains. Bowing down to these two geniuses in hopes that they'll make you a little money, all because they speak to your inner insecurities and validate your misogynistic tendencies, is truly one of the most embarrassing and beta things I've ever seen. If you think for a second that the guys who openly admitted to running a total scam of a webcam service, tricking desperate guys into pouring their life savings into their business, wouldn't do the exact same thing to their loyal, loving fans, I've got some news for you.
Tell me why you joined. Your other friend said he joined and changed his life.
I joined too, by the way. I can tell you why I joined too.
Have you made more than you invested?
Yeah, duh.
So is it a good investment?
Duh, I made money. I made loads.
How are you making money?
By
How are you making money?
Or what?
I don't want to.
How are you making the money?
Don't worry about how we make our money. Join the program.
You got to sign up to see.
That's right.
Bro, this is such a scam, brother.
I joined. I was like, dad broke. I joined. That guy even broker. So I don't know what the fuck. Like, broker.
One of the main reasons Andrew has racked up so many new subscriptions to HU over the past month is thanks to the help of streamers and podcasters allowing him to talk up a big game on their shows. He conveys just the right amount of information without revealing too much in order to...
He probably pays these motherfuckers to be able to talk, because he's just trying to reach their audience. This is a persona. All you have to do is just hold it. Hold it up. It's a straw man.
To sell it, with him and his clones using cryptic language to sound...
But I guess at the end of the day, he's really making money off of it. So what, is it really a straw man, I guess? I don't know. I just...
more alluring.
Not necessarily...
I want to hear. What did you do? You make it bread how?
Found out. We ain't gonna give it away for free.
I can't just say that's towards him. I can't just give out his sauce.
So did you get a job, or are you selling the book? What are you doing?
I didn't have to get a job.
So no job.
Okay, so how did you do
not
it?
selling the book. So did you make money appear? Like, what are you doing? You're saying weed?
So if you want to buy this joint, bro.
Just sign up.
That's all. You just gotta sign up, bro.
Sign up. It's $50. Don't be tight.
To desperate teens in search of a way out of the matrix, this course sounds like the key to freedom. And even if you've got doubts, as he says himself, you'll never truly know until you try it. He makes money no matter how you cut it. A grift that keeps on grifting. And Aiden honestly isn't wrong when he implies he should be getting a cut, considering Hustlers University tends to garner 6,000 new members per appearance Andrew makes on his streams.
You're not going to reduce our subscriber number. Every single time I do one of these Twitches, we get 3, 4, 5, 6,000 new students. Everything's going fantastic for us.
Yeah, because so far, you admit it. This is a good way to market your product.
I'm marketing.
People don't push back because Aiden is like I said, he's dick eating a little bit.
Pretext. Hey, you're not gonna talk to my homie like that. Watch your mouth. You're not dick riding. Appreciate you, gang. Appreciate you.
It's worth noting that Andrew has since been banned from Twitch, so the way he sells this
Good.
course in the future is gonna have to be a little different. But for the past little while, he's been advertising off the backs of anyone who so much as acknowledges him. So of course, the irony that I may be sending more subscriptions his way by making this video isn't lost on me. But it's an inevitability
True.
I've accepted, seeing as he'll continue to grift regardless of anything I have to say. It makes no difference, because we'll always have the Aiden Rosses of the world there to slob him off at any given chance.
But nice chatting to you, young man.
Don't go, bro. Andrew, please don't go.
That was terrible.
Which is especially uncomfortable to watch when you consider the open criminal investigation.
Okay, this is fucking mad sus, bro.
On April 11th of 2022, Andrew made headlines once again when his Romanian home was raided by police in relation to a human trafficking investigation. With this particular Daily Beast article igniting the flame, journalist Will Summers wrote that the raid had been prompted by reports of an American woman being abducted and held against her will in a foreign country. A probe that escalated to include human trafficking and rape, according to Romania's Directorate for Investigating Organized Crime and Terrorism. Footage of the Tate compound being swarmed by officers in riot gear was released online, where Andrew and his brother Tristan can be seen nervously pacing around the property before being escorted into the back of a police van and driven away from their villa, not without confiscating computers, phones, and iPads. According to multiple Romanian news outlets, there appear to have been 2 women found at the property, a Romanian girl and the 21-year-old American who the police had originally set out to find. Tristan and Andrew, though, have claimed the exact opposite, that there were no women on the property and the whole investigation was based on a false report. No girls were found in my house and nobody was arrested. According to a Romanian newspaper, the 21-year-old American alleged she was approached by Tristan
What's up,
on
man? Here?
Facebook, who after a short period was able to convince
You busy
her
doing
that he
something?
was
Or you
in
just
love
chilling
with
out?
her before she
I'm
came
watching a
out,
video right now,
leaving
actually.
her boyfriend behind.
What's the video?
testimony that
It's on Andrew Tate, if you know who that is.
No, somebody was just talking about him the other day, and I don't know.
Dude's
My brother was talking about him.
This dude's a fucking psycho. He's a weirdo. If you look at the chat in this right now, there's a watch together thing.
Oh yeah, hold on.
If you click on it.
Under
in the lounge, you just click on open chat and then. It's almost at the end now.
Man, I don't see where you're talking. I'm not like a big time Discord guy. I just see announcements, resources, general off-topic prompts. I don't see lounge.
The voice chat that we're in. You see
Yeah.
a little picture. If you click on it, that little message button. There's a little message button on that same line as lounge. And then it'll pop out a chat on the right. And then there should be a...
Oh, I see it. Interesting.
And then if you click on that, there you go. And then you can hit play if you want.
It doesn't exactly go against the type of tactics Andrew bragged about in the PhD course, but does fly in the face of the Tate's own series of events.
So her boyfriend is obviously one of these believe all females, oh my god, my girlfriend's not a hoe kind of guys. She was a...
She was, one second, she wasn't even hot.
Her boyfriend, who was obviously a fan of Emergency Meeting Live, saw her Instagram stories, said, oh my god, you're at the Tate brothers' house in Romania. This was some American chick. And she went, no, I didn't want to come to this party. They made me come here and I'm not allowed to leave. She said that to her boyfriend. That's some bullshit excuse. And the next day, the police come to our house. Fully loaded, the American embassy send the cops to our house. Now, they take us to the police station. So all the pictures of me and Andrew being taken away by the police, those are real photos. And what happens is they search our house. They find no drugs. They find no women. They find no people. They find nobody. If we were caught doing the things we're accused of, where are the
Once again, the girl can be seen in CCTV footage going outside to pick up a pizza shortly before the raid, which in the eyes of Andrew Tate fans absolves the brothers of any wrongdoing entirely. It's as if the mere fact that they aren't rotting away in a jail cell is enough evidence of their innocence for some people. But those people may be forgetting the many times Andrew has bragged about paying off Romanian police, claiming he has the money and influence to tell the police to f*** off. After all, it is 40% of the reason they even moved out there, so the fact they aren't currently in jail doesn't hold a ton of value to me. I'd rather listen to the actual mother of the Romanian girl allegedly found at the compound, who insists Tristan preyed on her daughter's naivete to bring her out to the house in the first place. Unrelated, but while we're on the topic of Andrew's history with women, one lesser talked about video of Andrew from an unspecified date has drawn a fair amount of concern in light of the new human trafficking allegations, where we see Andrew verbally berating a woman and making her show off the bruises he gave her. Because I can't show it here, I'll just recite this transcript. And of course, I do have to give a trigger warning for abusive language. What are you moaning about, woman? Bruises. Bruises? Why? Because I've been beaten. Beaten with what? With what? Your hand. Because you're a jerk. Show me the bruises. 1, 2, 3. I have an idea. Do you want to know my idea? The girl then walks away and locks a door, to which Tate yells, "Oh yeah, lock that door, you f***. You knew I was going to beat the f*** out of you. If you behaved, I wouldn't have to hit you." Just more
If you behaved, I wouldn't have to hit you.
non-concerning stuff from the guy who's publicly said this. But despite all the bans and allegations and news coverage, criminal investigations, Andrew Tate is still
I'm live right now, by the way,
revered as
Buck,
an icon,
but nobody's
idolized
watching.
by both fans and fellow like-minded grifters.
Oh,
It's
no
important
worries.
to note that over the past few years, Andrew has connected with a handful of infamous right-leaning pundits and online personalities, brushing elbows with January 6 organizer Ali Alexander and conservative pundit Jack Posobiec, a known conspiracy theorist with a track record of making unsubstantiated claims for the sake of pushing a radical agenda. Andrew has also seen praise from professional liar Mike Cernovich, a man so infamous for his misogyny and plethora of violent language against women, I can't even read some of these out loud. Another figure often brought up when discussing Andrew's political affiliations is Paul Joseph Watson. When he isn't vomiting out anti-immigration rhetoric to an army of neo-skinheads, Paul has been known to pal around with Andrew Tate on more than one occasion, with each segment they shoot together somehow being more unhinged than the last.
Women are just... Oh, can I say it? Yeah, I can say it. Women are useless in most situations. They're useless in combat situations. They're useless in any kind of physical situation. But they want to walk around, take all my attention, expect me to buy them drinks and buy them dinner, and then not have sex with me and call me their friend. I don't see the benefit in any of it.
Andrew has also been chastised for his ties with UK anti-
You can pause it whenever you want if you want to say something.
Islam activist Stephen Yaxley Lennon, or Tommy Robinson, describing him as a solid guy with a good heart. According to a recent Guardian article, Andrew had the police called on him in 2019 after showing up at the residence of Mike Stuchberry, a journalist who had previously spoken out against Andrew, an incident that came just days after Tommy Robinson did the same thing, a situation that reportedly caused Stuchberry's wife to suffer a panic attack and played a massive role in their decision to move out of the UK altogether. While Andrew may not posit himself exclusively as a political commentator, he's always left his beliefs out in the open.
It's all a scam. Let me tell you something, man. When this corona thing was going on, look, no, I'm not like these mask wearers. Trump is a G.
I want to emphasize the type of individuals he attracts and welcomes, because while railing against innocuous personalities like Danny Gonzalez or Ethan Klein, Andrew embraces the company of reactionary scam artists, even filling in as guest host of InfoWars whenever Alex Jones is away, presumably losing tens of millions in court. It's worrying to me in the sense how Andrew opens the door for young, impressionable teenage boys with a lack of direction in their lives to fall down this pipeline of harmful ideology. By coming across as some well-meaning motivational guru, Andrew earns a sense of credibility among unassuming viewers, those who may not be aware of his full story, opening the floodgates to a wave of more dangerous beliefs to be spread. He's like a Trojan horse of stupid takes.
People say, well, don't have Tate as male role model, there's better ones. Where are they? There are no other male role models. girls. Because to inspire the youth of men, you need to be aspirational. They have to look at you and want to be like you. And there's no other male role models that have had the tenacity or the aggressiveness to have such a fantastic life as I have.
Before he got banned, I decided to put my theory to the test, setting up a brand new TikTok account and seeing how long it took to go from Andrew Tate to alt-right adjacent content. And after about an hour and a half worth of scrolling, I went from a completely blank slate to my For You page being flooded with nothing but Andrew and Tristan. Coming across the occasional Ben Shapiro, Matt Walsh, Jordan Peterson video, everyone you would naturally expect from that crowd, before finally landing on conspiracy videos, Alex Jones, and a speech from notoriously homophobic Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, all from nothing but Sigma male edits of Andrew Tate with Subway Surfers graphics, confirming the existence of a pipeline that Andrew was very much a part of, at least before TikTok completely nuked his accounts, along with YouTube, Twitch, and Instagram. Upon the majority of his internet presence being ripped away, Andrew went on to backpedal and really undermine the gruff, hyper-misogynistic reputation we've all become familiar with, acting like he never said any of the things he's said on camera.
And I said that, look, a lot of people are confused because I'm trying to build men up and help men understand that they have a value too, because I think in the world today, not many men feel valuable. I think a lot of men are very, very sad and depressed, and I'm trying to encourage the men to feel powerful and feel valuable. They think I'm trying to...
So this video got like really political once you joined. It hasn't been like that this whole time. It's really just been him shitting on women the whole time, and like his takes about women are property and they belong to a man and whatever. So like I feel like right now what he's like what he's saying right now, because the last like 6 or 7 minutes is like this kid's take on politics, which, you know, is what it is. I don't really give a fuck. I don't really agree with what he's saying, but what Tate's saying here about
he's trying to build men up and not tear women down, but it's opposite of what he's been saying the entire time.
Yes. Yeah. And then he's also, the way he's building men up is by making somebody less than him. And it's like, bro, that's not, like, you can't build yourself up by oppressing somebody else. Like that's
well, first off, like who, I don't even know who, I mean, I've seen a couple of things he said before, but not this crazy.
No, so like if at the beginning of this video, it basically outlines his like life. He's like the son of a famous chess player. His parents got divorced, whoop-de-whoop. Then he turns to like fighting, and he's like a world champion kickboxer, I guess, in like some league with like 12 letters. So you know how legit that league is, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I guess he's like 3 world champions, and then he stopped. And then he started doing like, he tried to go on Big Brother, which was probably the most cringy shit I've ever watched, because he just like sat there while other people talked, and then every time he tried to talk, everybody just talked over him, and it just got like, he like pouted. You know what I mean? It's the exact opposite of what he's doing right now.
I know 2 just brutally badass kickboxers. I mean, Mike Edwards, him and I are friends with a kid from Germany who was a real badass. He does his own thing in California. Todd Vance.
I don't know. I could look him up.
I can't remember who it was, but he shows up in Germany. He's like this 18-year-old, just turned 18, right? He's like, he said, "Yeah, I beat this guy Tito Ortiz at kickboxing." I'm like, "What? Like, who are you?" Or whatever. And I didn't believe him. Like, yeah, whatever, kid. And he shows me the cover of this kickboxing magazine. This guy right here. I'm like, what? And maybe it's the wrong guy. I don't know. I'm just throwing names out there, right? It's some pretty badass kickboxer.
Yeah.
And his mom sent the VHS tape. He was fighting at like 16, 17 down in Tijuana, and he beat this guy. And I was like, wow. The other guy in a SF team next to mine, like, I don't think I should drop his name, but really, probably top of the top, man. They were in Thailand after the first push in Afghanistan, and he was like, they had this big, huge, festival, and he goes to this. He's like, "Give me the best guy you got," and he beat the local champion like so hard, so fast that they got scared they were gonna get mobbed, and they had to like cart him out of there.
Yeah, they had to bounce real quick. Yeah, that's fucking dope. Yeah, so basically, good.
So this guy, he said he's talking about women in combat in the military on TikTok, and I made a comment about it, and I'm pretty anti women in combat arms, and
agreed. So am I.
And so people came out of the woodwork like screaming at me. Like I was like, good Lord, man. And I saw one lady, she flew for the Air Force. She's a pretty cool chick. I follow on TikTok. She went to say something, and then I think she looked at my profile and then deleted her thing.
Yeah.
But
I mean, there's like an argument to be made about like the efficacy of a combat unit, and then based on like the social norms that we have in America, because everybody always wants to like go to, what is it, Israel, and like say that they're women and this, that, and the other.
They have to, though.
Yeah, that's the difference.
Survival.
You know what I'm saying? That's the difference. We don't have that in America, and like expecting, I don't know. I agree with you that women shouldn't be in combat arms, but it's more of like I don't think we're ready for it yet, or most Americans are capable of dealing with it, and then that's going to lead to like people dying, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah. So I've said that like they want women in special forces. Have you heard what happened to the first girl they made a Green Beret?
I did not.
I don't know how crazy you want to make this conversation go, but they lowered the standards, man. Like 3 girls didn't pass SFAS.
Yeah.
And the CG had to come down and tell the instructors like they all passed.
Yeah, so I was in ALC when the first girls were going through Ranger School, and a bunch of the dudes I was in ALC with were actually RIs, and they were saying the exact same thing. Like these girls were like not passing the push-ups, they didn't pass the Pete the Run, they would get major minuses in Derby phase and still would get passed. Like those, I was like, dude, what? Like what is happening right now?
Like why?
Yeah.
So we know why, but so I don't know what happened on the other one, but I know one of the girls got knocked up by her instructor in man, I'm losing my head now, in the Delta course. And then the one that did make it was an officer. She's supposed to never see a team, so she gets to her unit, and I heard all kinds of different rumors. So the first thing I heard was that she killed her neighbor.
What the fuck?
And then I found out later that, and I haven't seen any different, but I've read an article now where it says she was practicing shooting in her apartment and she shot into her neighbor's apartment, and then he called the police. But I don't know where the truth in that lies, really. I don't know what's what. I don't know if that was like did she kill someone and they're trying to cover it up now, or I'm not a conspiracy theorist too much, but I really don't know.
Yeah, that is that's very strange.
And I get what happened. She didn't feel adequate. She thought she's in her apartment training to be as good as the guys,
Yeah, for sure.
Girls can shoot good. I mean, I don't know how much you know about me, but I'm one of the better long range shooters out there.
Yeah.
And I've had women shoot better than me long range. I'm trying to think of Nancy Gallagher.
I don't know the names.
Her and her daughters are all phenomenal long range shooters.
Oh
wow. Top notch. Now I don't think any of them are combat shooters, so I don't know.
Yeah, so I feel like a lot of like this the stuff that is about you specifically, I want to like dive into like when it's just me and you know what I mean?
Oh
So
yeah, no problem.
I don't want to learn too much right now because I want there to be like an actual, back and forth type of a scenario.
Oh yeah, anytime, man.
I'm on pauses now.
And to drag women down, and that's not the case.
Whether or not he'll return to these platforms in some capacity has yet to be seen. Individuals like Andrew Tate have a peculiar way of sticking around. While some defend his right to exist online, others rejoice at the mass exodus of his profiles. But what's not to be disputed is the lasting impact he's made on everyone who's been on the internet over the past few months. The Guardian article we discussed earlier paints a pretty worrying picture of the so-called legacy he's left, citing one woman describing how her boyfriend's attitude and opinions changed dramatically after being introduced to Andrew's content. One teacher taking to Reddit to express how Andrew Tate has, quote, ruined her freshman boys, claiming students are refusing to do assignments if they're sourced by a woman. I had 3 boys refuse to read an article by a female author because women should only be housewives, she wrote. Another replying, I had some kids put Andrew as their role model on their student info questionnaires this week. All the more reason why he deserves to be analyzed and critiqued to the fullest, as his words serve as nothing more than reactionary drivel for desperate and lonely individuals to latch onto. He speaks to the internal biases and insecurities of an entire generation, and thrives off attention both negative or otherwise, which means he isn't really going anywhere anytime soon.
What on earth, even in a million years of your wildest dreams, made you think you were gonna stop Andrew Tate?
For now, Andrew Tate will remain a role model for dudes who can't validate their feelings anywhere else, at least not until they grow up and experience more of the world. Until then, Andrew will continue to feed them the blue pill, tragically reinforcing their coddled and dated opinions of women, masculinity, and the world around them for years to come.
God loves me. I'm one of God's favorites. I'm not God, but I'm certainly one of his favorites.
What the? God doesn't have favorites. God loves all of his children.
I am one of God's favorites. I'm the most famous man on the internet. I'm also a 4-time kickboxing world champion. I'm also extremely smart and sexy and funny and interesting.
You telling
I
yourself
have everything
that, bro?
that every man has ever wanted.
Except
Yo, savage. Dude. I don't, dude, that dude, oh my god, the whole beginning was just out of control, dude. It's like, you can just see how his childhood is like, he hates his mother because his dad didn't want to be around, and if she just allowed his dad to cheat, his dad would be around more. So it's just, this very strange mirror effect of like, it's just very weird to me. I don't even know what to say about this dude right now. This dude is so cringy, man.
It is pretty cringe, man. I only saw a little bit of it.
It's so savage. It's like I'm just seeing a lot of like my old, maybe not my old veteran friends, but like the new ones. So like maybe before I learn a bunch about you, I'll tell you a little bit about me, right? And this is like at the end of a video at 2 hours, so nobody's really gonna be paying attention. But
yeah.
So I joined the Army in 2007, and I did 10 years active duty. I've been to like a few schools, but nothing like too fucking crazy, like LRM, SRM, Mountain Warfare. I'm MLOC qualified, so I can run like a mortar platoon, but I'm still a Bravo. And there's probably a few other ones, ALC and BLC, and then, you know, just random classes with, you know, PSD this dude or SF dude this dude or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And I have 3 combat tours, 2 to Afghanistan and 1 to Iraq from like 2007 to, I think my last one was in 2013.
Wait, one more time. What year did you go in the Army?
2007.
Okay.
And then, yeah, so my deployments weren't, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't in the Korengal, but I also wasn't like a rotation to Kuwait, you know what I mean? So like I had my CIB, I had my EIB. So I'm like a decent infantry dude, you know what I mean? I was I'm an E6, or I was an E6. I've been an E6 3 times actually. I'm on my way back up again. I'm like Eddie, you know what I mean?
I was. You want me to tell you about my rank progression a little bit?
Yeah.
I was a PFC twice. I was a specialist 3 times. I was a corporal once.
Jesus. So like a lot of, actually I'm gonna end this now. The video, we're gonna do this to end. Where do I end this at? End.